Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_daddy. Well, we've got some decisions to make here, folks, because things have changed rapidly. This was supposed to be a real simple, hey, here's everything you need to know about Baltimore. But the unexpected happened. And we should mention it. The Packers are going to the playoffs. We did it. Oh, all that hard work, huh? Who'd have thought? You go 0-2 the last 2 weeks, and gee golly, if we didn't get rewarded for all the hard work, huh? We did it. We really, there's a lesson in there. You just put your head down and you work. You know what I mean? It's not about wins. It's about everybody else losing around you. You know, it's not about being good. It's just about being better than the Vikings and Lions who suck. That's it. That's the lesson. You know, you don't have to do anything. And the great news is now they don't have to try for the next 2 weeks. So wonderful. I'm kidding. They do have to try, and we'll talk about that. But Packers officially went from having 2 more weeks left in the season to 3 more weeks left in the season. Let's go. I will say the NFL is going to have to think long and hard about this. I mean, I doubt they'll change their mind, but it's kind of dirty to have Christmas Day games. Christmas Day games right at the time, by the way, teams are fighting for their playoff lives. You had the Lions, excuse me. The freaking Lions. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing. On Christmas Day, they are officially eliminated from the playoffs, and in doing so, sent the Packers to the playoffs. And it was the Vikings that beat them. Not only that, it was the Vikings putting up one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen in my life. Max freaking Brosmer, who right now is graded as like the worst quarterback in football for the Minnesota Vikings, threw 16 passes, completed 9 of them, for 51 yards. Justin Jefferson was their leading receiver. He had 4 receptions for 30 yards. After that, it was Aaron Jones with 10, Oliver with 8, and Sims with 3. That's it. That was the whole game. And the Lions lost. And they lost because their offense couldn't do anything. And I gotta say, I couldn't help but ponder as I sat there and thought, we just had this conversation about the head coach, and it's not all about play calling. There's more to it than that. And I'm watching a team that lost their offensive line lose everything. How far does that motivation get you when you just don't have any pieces? It's not getting Detroit very far, is it? They lost their play caller, and now their team sucks. They also lost some offensive line pieces, but again, same situation. And so it brings me back to that question. You sure you want to get rid of your play caller to go get a rah-rah guy? You want to go get a Dan Campbell? The hell good is Dan Campbell? His first year without the top-tier play caller, they missed the playoffs? I don't know, man. Maybe we'll just keep our play caller. Just saying. Some other little nuggets here. According to OptaStats, Max Brosmer is the only NFL quarterback in the Super Bowl era to play the entire game and finish with under 70 passing yards and 7 sacks and still win the game. How about this for the rah-rah, well-coached Lions? The Lions offense, with their season on the line, recorded a season-low 29.7% success rate in their Week 17 loss against the Vikings. Their second lowest offensive output this season also came against the Vikings in Week 9, when they posted a 33.9% success rate. A significant factor in their Week 17 struggles was ball security, as the Lions turned the ball over 6 times, their most turnovers in a game since Dan Campbell took over as head coach. There's that motivated, Super Bowl ready, well-coached dynamo of a football team, huh? Jared Goff completed 18 of 29 passes for 197 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions in the Lions' Week 17 loss against the Vikings. His cap hit is $70 million next year, I believe, by the way. They're not going to pay that, but, you got to shuffle money around, and then this is the problem. This is, like I said, you get to the top of the hill, and then instead of having just tons of money everywhere to spend $1 billion in free agency as well as having top 5, top 10 picks all the time, now things get a little tough. Now they get a little tricky. Your coaches are all getting hired away, you've got no money for free agency, and you're picking late in drafts. Although you should be top 20 this year, so well done on that. They might actually finish 4th in the division, by the way, which is freaking crazy. I hope not, because that probably means we lost to the Vikings, but I'm just saying, that's crazy. The Vikings blitzed Goff on 55.9% of his dropbacks, where he struggled by completing just 6 of 16 attempts for 74 yards and both of his interceptions. Remember, he sucks against pressure. These were the first interceptions he had thrown against the blitz all year. When not blitzed, Goff was more efficient, completing 12 of 13 passes for 123 yards and a touchdown. The big lesson here, don't ever take anything for granted. You think you're on top, you think you're going to stay on top, you think everything's great, and just like that, just a couple little tweaks and everything falls apart. But with that said, the Packers' attention then turns to the NFC North, which I know it seems like that's so far behind us, but in reality, let me switch this here real quick, win the division. The Packers are sitting at an 11% chance. If they win this game and the Bears lose to the 49ers, which I would say is the most likely scenario, we're sitting at 31%, which doesn't seem great. If we beat the Vikings, which should happen, and then the Lions beat the Bears, which frickin' should happen, but I mean, good Lord, then guess what? We won the division. It seems ridiculous, but it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't. The Bears should have got absolutely stomped out by the Packers because the Packers are a better team even when they're very banged up. They're not as good as the 49ers, and they're not as good as the Lions. Now, the end of the season stuff's getting weird. The Packers are starting to get a little shaky. The Lions are definitely getting a little shaky. But right now, the Packers are 4.5-point favorites over the Baltimore Ravens, and the Bears are 3-point underdogs against the 49ers. The Packers are at home against Baltimore. The Bears are on the road against the 49ers. We should win the freaking game. The 49ers should win the freaking game. We're off to a great start to this week. Can we please just hang in there? It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, so why don't we go ahead and take a break right here. So with that said, let's take a look at where we're at most recently, specifically with the injury report. Still a pretty extensive injury report. However, I don't know, half the guys are a full go. Someone's at the front door.
Someone is at the front door.
Aaron Banks, Quentin Bohanna, Romeo Dobbs, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Mosby, Colin Oliver, which is pretty cool, Jordan Riley, Lucas Van Ness, Josh Wiley, which is also cool, Dontavian Wicks and Savion Williams are all full go. Questionable in the game, Jordan Love, Bo Melton, Sean Ryan, who just didn't practice on Thursday, Zach Tom, Christian Watson, who was full participant and then did not participate also on Thursday, Evan Williams, Malik Willis, all questionable. Out, Christian Welch, and it was a second one here somewhere, and John Williams. He was a draft pick this year, if you forgot. The very unfortunate thing, and I mentioned this, was it yesterday, 2 days ago, last time I did it, it's upsetting to see all the illnesses pop up and run through the team. It's very obviously something that is causing some issues. So Bo Melton hasn't practiced all week and is only listed as having an illness. Bohanna didn't practice on Tuesday, had an illness. Malik Willis on Wednesday got shut down because of an illness. Watson and Sean Ryan were shut down on Thursday because of an illness. The good news is, with the exception of Bo Melton, this seems to be a thing that people are working through pretty quick. Bohanna was down for a day. Malik was down for a day. I can't imagine Watson and Sean Ryan are going to be shut down on Saturday because they got sick on Thursday. This is just something that the team is taking very seriously, and they're saying, you got a bug, you got a fever, you got whatever. You go to bed, get your fluids, whatever. Get out of here. First of all, get away from my building. because I don't need you getting everybody else sick, quarantine. But also, we need this gone. We need it squashed. So they're taking it seriously, and it seems like it's kind of going away. So it shouldn't be a big deal. As for Lamar Jackson, right now, Lamar is listed as doubtful to play against the Green Bay Packers. So I don't know if you take that as good or bad with our luck against backup quarterbacks, or really anybody's luck against backups, but specifically ours. And so I don't know, but it's looking positive for our quarterback. I don't know anything more than what I've already said, and that is Malik Willis. Let's start with him. Earlier in the week said he should be ready to go if he's called upon. So at the very least, we should have Malik. Jordan is listed as questionable. He cannot speak to the media because of his concussion situation. The team is not really saying very much. However, some of the wide receivers, specifically Christian Watson, said he looked really good in practice, feels like he's in a good spot, and that the team is treating it like it's a normal week, so that they don't seem to be running the offense as though they expect Malik to be the guy. Now, if they were super smart, they would just have Christian go out there and lie about this stuff and then, actually practice with Malik all week. But I tell you what, we're in a tough spot. It is the next day. I didn't get this pod up. I think we're just going to call this a short update so I can get it up today, and then I'm going to get to work on tomorrow's podcast. Doing my best here, folks. Be patient with me. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.